Hello, welcome to another video. To anybody who sees this, if anybody sees this video, I just would like to discuss the whole Last of Us thing that's going on here. Really just my thoughts on the game. I can't say too much as an Xbox player because I do not own a PS4. Others in my family do, but I myself do not. I own an Xbox One and 360 here. But I just want to talk about what I think the game did well, what I think it's doing bad, and what I think they could improve. Alright, so starting off, let me just say the environment real quick. Now, the environment here, I really like the Last of Us 2 environment, just same with the first game, but as with most games on the PlayStation, you can expect pretty good graphics from it. What I like about The Last of Us, specifically what they do, is that they don't try to overdo it. They don't try to add too much polish and reflections and light everywhere. I believe YouTuber Jacksepticeye went over this. I cannot be certain, but he stated, I believe, that how the game had how the game's color palette worked with realism, and I can completely agree. The Last of Us has this kind of not really bland, but plain colors, just like real life. You don't see a bunch of super colorful things going on, really. It's like GTA. That's why I have this picture here to compare them. I always thought GTA had this kind of plainish style to it, although it had more color to it, due to being a much more, well, I guess, stable world. It's not exactly in an apocalyptic state. But anyway, I think the environments of The Last of Us 2 were done really well. I really like the developer's attention to details and, the fact that you can actually read stuff that's on the world, and the animations are polished and stuff, characters and all that. That's not really that big of a deal. But, so then, the environments are pretty big. I always like the idea of an abandoned city like this. I like how the plants are all growing up on top of them and stuff. But, alright, so I guess that's all I really have to say for this about the environment, but in terms of the rest of the game, another thing I think it did well was just the overall, I guess the gore of it, and the overall violence and damage to the people in combat, pretty much. Combat in general and gameplay itself is pretty good. So, for instance, if you shoot somebody, you're going to see blood and you're going to see the wound of where they got shot, stuff like that. If you stab them, you'll also see stuff like that. It's pretty realistic, not for anybody who's kind of soft to that, I suppose. But that's not really the big thing here, because everybody knows about the Last of Us environment, so it's fine. But the main thing that seems to be of the hot topic at the moment is currently the story of The Last of Us 2. And specifically, this character here, Abby. Oh, my computer screen just did some, okay, well, shoot. Yeah. This character here, her name is Abby, and she has been the topic of discussion, really. Now, I'm just gonna say this right here. If you don't know the story, then just skip a couple seconds, skip a couple minutes behind here, because, yeah, so basically, what this character does is that she is Joel's killer, if you don't know this by now. She is the one who hits Joel upside the head with a golf club, pretty much. And Ellie is forced to watch, and people don't really like that, and I can understand it. And I've seen a lot of comments on different review videos and all that, and it's basically saying it's not that Joel died; it's that the way he died is pretty bad. I'm not gonna go over this character being a whole transgender and all that, though. I mean, she's got some pretty beefy shoulders and a pretty beefy upper body, so yeah, we can say that. But anyway, yeah, so she's the killer, and What I personally think they could have done is maybe say so because Tommy is the reason that basically she ends up finding out who she is because she doesn't seem to know at first. What could have happened is that what I think the game should have done is that in the first couple hours, I guess, maybe, or in the hour and a half, I guess, Ellie and Joel are like together working on a mission or something, and then they run into Abby and her group, right? And then maybe they help each other out until Abby realizes that, Joel was the one she's looking for and that is him and all that. So then maybe, like, say a quarter into the game, Joel kind of maybe she tries to, maybe like, I don't know, maybe she tries to get back at Joel by killing Ellie and, maybe he gets shot or something trying to save her like he did his daughter, who knows. And so then you could have him die, and then Ellie would kill her friends and all that, but I'm not really good at this storytelling, so not like I have much to say on that, but still. The point being is that, yeah, these people don't like what happened here. I think Joel could have gone out a little better. I think he could have at least had a sacrifice or something like that, because they just flat out killed him. And there are flashbacks to him in the story, which I like they show flashbacks of what Ellie did, but I think they could have done this in the beginning, like, say, when you were talking to Joel in a cutscene, and then they start showing flashbacks that you could play. I think that would have been a better take on that. It's also the fact that Joel dies early on in the game. Maybe around an hour and a half or 2 hour mark, I'm not certain. But, pretty much, this is seemingly why nobody really likes this character. I even saw one guy, I think it was some Korean streamer, I believe he broke the disc in half because of it. But here's another thing I'm just gonna switch this topic now because that's really all I have to say on this character. And also, okay, so what was my next topic of discussion I was gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna compare this to the first game. Now, again, being an Xbox player who doesn't own a PS4, I can't say too much on it, but I can say that I really enjoyed the premise and idea of The Last of Us 1. It had a unique virus, like the cordyceps, taking inspiration from real life things. And also, it was just a very interesting game. You play as Joel, he loses his daughter early on, then he takes care of Ellie, who happens to be immune, and then it ends with, like, you get to the Fireflies, and then they're about to kill her, and I'm sure you know the rest of the story. If you don't, though, Joel basically doesn't allow it to happen. He kills all the people in the hospital, including a surgeon. And also, at the end of the story, he kills a surgeon, and this surgeon is apparently Abby's father, which is why she's doing whatever she's doing in the new story. But beyond the point, The Last of Us 1, I think, had overall a better story than the second game. The second game, a little disappointing, it seems. For the most of them, anyway. But one thing I wanted to try and compare this to was, so The Last of Us 2 was like a construction site. I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, if you play the game, that's not good. If you play the game, you can't really experience, the game's still good, stuff like that, and I can agree with them. The Last of Us is still definitely a good game and all that, but what it's missing is really just, basically, its story. The story is, a core foundation of The Last of Us. I've seen it since the first game, the first game revolved around the story, all the gameplay, all the characters, the environment, everything revolved around the story, which was definitely a solid one. Definitely held up. But the second game, it doesn't really do that. I was going to try and find pictures, but as you can see, my computer's having all sorts of problems. But the point is here that... So I was going to try and compare it to a construction site because... So you have... The Last of Us 1 is a hotel, I guess you could say. Completed building, looks good on the outside, full interior, furnished, and all that. So let's just say the framework and the outside of the building is the gameplay and graphics, while the inside, interior, and all that is the story. You could have a completed building with the framework's done, outside's done, looks nice. You look at the game, it looks pretty good. And then say you buy the game or buy the building, you go inside and figure out that it's got no walls, just like framework for where the walls are going. It's got no finished flooring. Some of the floors are missing, stuff like that. Like, just I think that's kind of what The Last of Us 2 is at this point. It's it's kind of incomplete, I suppose you could say. And I still think they could fix this, but I'm not sure really how they would do that. But that's just my comparison of it. I was also going to compare it to a cake, like The Last of Us 2 is a cake without a lot of flour, which doesn't give it as much of a good look as the original game, which is a, pretty nice cake, good icing, not too much, just random stuff like that. These are random analogies I was thinking of, that thought of comparing the game to. But the things, well, I guess I'll move to the next thing, final part I really want to say here. I think this game could be improved drastically by simply, well, actually, there's not much they can really do now since the game's released. Story's what it is. Can't really do too much about it. But I personally think that The Last of Us 2 is not. Now, well, you know what? I'll just finish this video off here with just what would I say about it? The Last of Us 2, for me, I'd say. Of course, I'll never be able to play the game unless I buy a PS4, but looks to be a pretty decent and pretty solid on gameplay and graphics. And I think that gives it a pretty high score. However, with the story, it's like the main pillar that's holding it all up. Story is like a bit weak here compared to the first game. However, if you like it for if you like the game for just the gameplay and environment and stuff, combat, then go ahead and get it. But if you like for the story, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, buy it, don't buy it, but I'd say if you're looking for one like the last one, the story is a little disappointing, but the gameplay, pretty sure that makes up for it. I would give the game a 7 or 8.5, pretty much. Even a 9 at best, I'd say, but it's definitely not a 10, like, IGN stated, other reviewers out here. But yeah, I really don't have anything else to say on this, but I give him credit. The collector's edition here has a lot to offer in it. My computer has these glitches in it. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, yeah, there's I saw the collector's edition and has quite a lot of stuff in it, which is shocking. Most collector's editions are seemingly underwhelming here. Now, I was going to buy a PlayStation 4 in the future, and if I did, one of the first games I would get on it would definitely be either The Last of Us 2, or Horizon Zero Dawn, one of those. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. This is not a review of it, I guess, because, well, I guess it kind of is, but if you want the game, go ahead and buy it. I would buy it because of the simply because I like the gameplay and I like looking at the environment, stuff like that, and all that. But it's up to the player and up to what you overall prefer with the game. So that's, yeah. I think it could be improved, but it's not bad. And well, I guess this is going to be the end of the video. If you liked what I had to say, or disliked it, dislike the video, whatever. Depends on if you liked what I had to say, or agree or disagree. If you disagree, or even agree, please state it in the comments. If anybody even watches this video, I should say. And if you want to see more videos, for some reason I'm just uploading videos like once a month, which is not really good. I wanted to do it weekly, but I still have no clue how this editing software works. And I plan on getting at least a double monitor set up so I have a better opportunity to do this kind of stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to turn this channel into a gaming or commentary, but, if you want to see more, I guess subscribe if you want. Don't have to, but I'd appreciate it, and, well, that's all I really have to say on this whole Last of Us situation. Have a good day, whoever sees this.